Good evening. On the table I've got this engine that was given to me. It's the Raduga 61 engine, and I featured this several months ago, and it's been an engine that has generated a lot of interest in the last I think I sent an email out, or no, I did a short video asking the types of engines that people wanted to run, an engine run list. And this one was a high on the list, so I was like, well, you know what? I just did two 4-stroke engines. Now I want to do two 2-stroke engines. So this was one I've been wanting to run too. So I took it out to the stand, putting it on the Ron Sexton stand, getting it set up, and you know, I did this. I was like, yeah, it turns over, you know, whatever. So I put it on the stand, bolted it all up. I had to drill out this hole for the throttle arm because it was just way too small for any standard size clevis. So anyway, after I got it all on the stand, put a prop on it, and I started to turn it over without even a glow plug in it, it was really, really tight. I mean, so tight that it would not flip over by hand. You know, like you can see how an engine will do this type of thing. And you go, and it does that. This thing would not even do that. And I was like, well, I'm not going to sit there and try and hand start this beast. So, and I know my electric starter wouldn't turn it over. So I don't really have any choice but to take this thing apart. And I had just got the carb all set up. So the carb is set up and ready to go. That's going off to the side here. So I don't have any choice but to take this thing apart and remove the bearings, or at least try to clean it better again, because in its current state it's not runnable. I cannot, there's no way it'll start because it doesn't turn over freely enough. So that's the purpose of this video. You're going to see me completely disassemble this engine. I've got a fresh vat of water in my ultrasonic. I don't really want to pop the bearings out of this engine because there's always the risk of damaging them, and if I do have to remove the bearings, I'm going to replace them with some Boca bearings, which obviously if I do that, it's going to take a while. It's going to be, you know, a few weeks before this would make it back to potentially into the queue of running. So I'm really kind of hoping that I can remedy this tightness issue once and for all with this final disassembly and cleaning and reassembly or whatever. Maybe the bearings have to I need to find out what is it that's sticking. Is it the crankshaft has gummy stuff on it, or is it the bearings that are just garbage? I mean, at this point I don't know, and that's kind of why I'm doing this. The concerns I have are, because of how sticky and gummy this thing is, am I going to be able to get the connecting rod off the crankshaft? Am I going to be able to get the sleeve out? There's a lot of questions as to, am I going to be able to do any of this stuff very easily at all because of the condition. Okay. Of course, I guess it doesn't really matter about the sleeve because this is it's got a front housing on here, so hey, hooray for that. Well, look at that, there's still this green stuff. The shim's wanting to come out. Let's see if I can get that. The good news is that this thing came with a whole bunch of different shims and gaskets, as if they knew you were going to have to do something like this. Now I thought I saw an edge, and now I don't see that. I'm not going to mess with that right now. I'm going to go straight to, let's just go straight to the front housing here. Now I don't think before, I don't even remember exactly how I cleaned this thing before. I don't know if I did it all by toothbrush and external cleaning only. I don't think I dropped it all, the entire thing, in an ultrasonic cleaner, but I honestly, it's been a month or two, it's April, so this was last year. So I don't remember. There's been so much stuff going on with this hobby across this table over the last few months. I'm really just having a hard time remembering it all. Boy, this is just... Question is it even really going to want to come apart here? Am I going to have to grab my mallet? Look at that. At least that came off. Oh, wow. Of course, the same thing's probably going to apply here. I may not be able to even get this rear cover off. Oh, wow, that's cool. Maybe I got this off before. I don't know. So what I'm thinking maybe I can do now is maybe put a punch in here and suspend this thing and try to tap it out, and maybe it'll dislodge this front piece. Maybe. Let's see what happens. Except I'm not going to use a punch. Doing any possible damage. I'm pushing on the crankshaft, which should be in turn pushing this out. The only thing is my the depth of my vise isn't such that I can just nose this thing down in there, so I gotta hold it on a less than firm surface, being my hand. Looks like it's starting to move though. I can't say that I've ever had to resort to this kind of means to disassemble an engine before. Okay, so it's still there, but I'd be damned if I can turn that at all. Is it that tight a tolerance? Or what? This isn't really that hot anymore. I don't really need the glove. One more ought to do it. There we go. Okay, so what is tight here? Obviously that's not the problem, so the issue resides in here. So let's just go ahead and finish taking this crankshaft out since it's on its way out anyway. And the bearing is coming off with it, so that's a good thing. Alright. Oh, it's that bearing. That's really tight, I think. So look at the oil groove in this crankshaft. That doesn't feel all that bad. Why would this thing be so sticky? Look at that, it just goes right back together. Okay, so now my question is, do I just drop this whole assembly in the ultrasonic cleaner and hope for the best, or do I just clean it out real good? Ultrasonic cleaner, clean it out real good, or do I just go ahead and replace bearings on it? I mean, it's rotating. It seems, I mean, not super free, but they don't feel notchy. I like how that thing just kind of does that and just goes in and out. I feel a lot of friction. Is it friction going through that bearing? Or am I feeling the friction? Got a little bit of oil on this thing. I think I'm probably just going to drop this whole assembly in the ultrasonic cleaner. And, I mean, look at all that crap on there. Not knowing where the real hang-up is, it's either I put it in the ultrasonic cleaner now and clean it, or throw it back together again real quick and see if these little things I'm doing here are enough to, and obviously that outside thing there isn't going to do anything. It's just a matter of, does that make it fit together a little bit better? Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of gunky. I mean, the whole inside of this thing is just really messed up. So I'm not gonna, this is an ABC engine, all right? Looks like an ABC engine, so I'm not gonna try to get this sleeve out. That's just not gonna happen. But I don't know if you can see inside here, there's just a whole bunch of that, whatever that stuff was that they used to preserve this thing for 500 years. At least I got that part, so it'll. Okay, so see how it spins fairly freely here? Obviously we're not spinning on that. That one's pretty rough. So that's the front bearing, seems pretty decent. I mean, I just want to try and get a run on this. I don't want to have to go through a whole lot of expense of replacing bearings and stuff. Maybe if I put that thing up now and do a little bit more of that spinning thing, maybe it'll. That's starting to feel better. Whether it stays like that, I'm really inclined now to just kind of put this thing back together and see what it feels like. There's gunk here on the outside of this. This is an oil-soaked piece of cloth or sandpaper. Was this causing any drag? I think that's spinning much better than it was. Like I said, I don't want to put a whole lot of time and effort into this. I really just want to run it a few times, and as it came to me, you know, as virgin as it could be at this point. Let's move this stuff out of the way here. Let's just put this thing back together and see what happens. See if it'll... I don't think I don't think I turned the piston. I don't believe I did. But I'm also not seeing a chamfer on either side of this, so... Okay, finally, at long last. That took way longer than it should have. I'm just going to put it back together and hope for the best here, I guess, and see what happens. So that's kind of my little project here tonight. I'm just going to put this thing back together, and hopefully it's an ABC engine, so maybe, I mean, it wasn't all just compression that I was having an issue with. It wouldn't rotate over smoothly at all. So let me finish putting this thing together here, and I'm going to probably save you putting the head screws on because there's 6 of those things, and quite honestly, using these Phillips head screws are really kind of a pain in the butt to put any kind of speed on my turning, at least in the head. Here it's not so bad. The head you slide off center like you did there, like I did there, and you're out hitting the fins and yes, it's been a long day. I wonder if I got a prop in here that I can mount on this thing. Yeah, that'll work. See, it feels Still feels pretty tight. It's not a super easy running or easy rotating mechanism there. And I don't even have the head on. I just don't think my starter will have be able to turn that thing over. I really don't. So I don't know, maybe this is just going to be one of those engines you just sit and look at. Because I'm sure as hell not going to injure my back again by trying to hand start this thing. That's not going to happen. So if my starter can't turn this over, I might try and give it 5 flips. And if it doesn't pop off in 5 flips, it isn't popping off. I'll be damned if I'm going to... Yeah, see, it still feels... And I think the glow plug I left out in the garage, so I don't have a plug here that I can just throw in it to feel the compression. Really? No, this thing is going to give me trouble too. I'm certainly not going to run out to the Raduga store and buy another one. Did I get that thing lined up? I don't know. I'm getting frustrated with this engine, so I think I'm just going to turn the video off and we'll see what happens.